Hola Adri, ¿todo bien?
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Hola.
Hola, hola, Rafa, hola.
Hello.
Hola a todas y todos.
So many faces.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna say it first in Spanish and then in English, okay? Hola a todos y todos, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Ya veo muchas caras familiares que siempre nos vemos. Voy a comenzar a grabar.
Recording in progress.
Pues bueno, ya muchos de ustedes saben cómo llevamos estas conferencias, ¿vale? Ahora lo voy a decir en inglés. Thank you so much for being here today. Guys, you have here most journalists from Mexico. Oh, please, can you please mute? Sorry about that. Okay, so for all of the journalists gathered here today, we are very happy to have with us Future Islands. We have William, Sam, Garrett, and Mike, and they will be performing in Vive Latino on Sunday, March 17. So if you guys want to say something before we start with the Q&A, and then, I will be here helping saying the questions and on translating anything that's needed.
I'll just say thanks everybody for being here today. We're really excited. We're always excited to come to Mexico, and yeah, it's we appreciate y'all being here to talk with us.
Thank you so much. So let me just say this really quick in Spanish. Amigas y amigos periodistas, por favor, quienes quieran hacer una pregunta, por favor, ya sea que ustedes la digan o me la pongan en el chat, de preferencia en inglés, y ya yo les ayudo, ¿vale? So let me see who I have here for our first question. Just give me a second. Okay, so I have now Antonio Garcia from El Parlante. Antonio, please go ahead and ask your question.
Gracias, Adri. Gracias a todos. Hi, guys. First, I'm going to say the question in Spanish for the journalist and then for you in English, okay?
Sounds good.
My first question is, let me see. There it is. Me gustaría hablar un poco del nuevo álbum que sacaron hace apenas unos días. Las canciones del álbum expresan un deseo de conexión humana o de regreso a la normalidad. ¿Cómo se transmite este sentimiento a través de la música? I would like to talk a bit about the new album that you released just a few days ago. Do the songs on the album express a desire for human connection or a return to normalcy? How is this feeling conveyed through your music?
Yeah, I think all of I think Future Islands as a band has always been about songs about striving for a human connection and trying to speak in a universal language. We make music you can dance to, so that it affects people physically, and then we make music that has a deeper lyrical meaning, so then it's something you sit with that slowly seeps into you over time, that you can hopefully learn from. But the music is like a hook for the message, and it's all about creating a community and an environment, not just within the records, but when we bring people together, when we have a show. The hope is that we make music with an open heart, and people that want to be open or have an open heart will come together and be together and experience a human connection, not just through the music, but through the shows. And that's something that's been really important for us for 18 years. We just had our 18th anniversary a couple days ago. So yeah, that's an integral part of our music.
Okay. The second question, la segunda pregunta es una pregunta que hago en una dinámica, que es, ¿qué canción de algún artista vivo o muerto te hubiera gustado componer a ti y por qué? It's a question that I say in a dynamic in the medium, in the is what song by a living or dead artist would you have liked to have written yourself and why?
Ooh. You guys got one? I've been obsessed with this. There's this song by this band called Lion that I've been listening to nonstop for the last week over and over. And I woke up this morning singing it. You should all find it. It's called You've Got a Woman. I don't know if I wish that I wrote it, but it's such an amazing song. I'm trying to think. We recently did a cover of Love My Way by the Psychedelic Furs. And I think that is a song that in learning it, we were all like, this song is so good. And it's kind of simple in the way that it's written. It's very similar, I think, to our style. So I think that's a good example of like a song that I've always loved. And yeah, you wish you got to sing it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. And I hope you see in Vive Latino. Thank you, Adri.
Thank you so much.
Gracias a todos.
Gracias, Antonio. Thank you. Now I have another question from my colleague Arnulfo from Síntesis Hidalgo. Arnulfo, please go ahead.
Gracias, Adri. Hi, how are you? Bueno, saludos a todos. Hi, Sam.
Good,
How you been? How you been?
I've been good.
Nice to meet you. I have two questions. I know in this moment, 18 and over, it's grateful and you're powerful live on your music. So I have two questions. Let's talk about on the more recently record release. So I see in his mama, in his most recent videos, for example, the tower, the fight, say goodbye. It makes us reflect on the small things of the human being that have lost feelings and the inner beauty of the human being in this time. What's your opinion about these things?
Well, you know, a lot of what we're, seeing, it's just like my personal, journey through life and figuring out what it is to be a person growing older. I think that's something we all experience together, me and the guys, as we mature as artists, and become fathers, become husbands, or lose relationships. Losing relationships when you're in your late 30s, when you think things are all together. It's something. I think that's a thing we do without knowing, because Future Islands music is really just about chronicling our own lives, and through telling the story of our own lives, we are speaking to the human condition, speaking to what it is. I'm not going to try to sing a song about being an 18-year-old kid, because I don't know what that means anymore. Like I have to speak as a man who as a man, and as a man who's growing older, who can't do the things that I used to do the way the mind says I can do that, but the body says I can't. Learning how human connections can fail, and how, when you're young, sometimes you blame it on the other person. And as you get older, if the thing keeps happening, you have to say, maybe it's me. That reflection is something that happens with age. The ability to be introspective only comes with the wisdom of age and maturity. So that's something that we're learning in real time. And I think our albums show that. You can literally listen to our records and find the growth of like how we speak to emotions. The early records are so full of rage and like despair, the emotions are so hot, because when you're young, you don't know how to deal with your emotions. They're all encompassing. They're like a fire. And as you get older, you're like, it's happening again. And I'm going to be okay, because I've been okay in the past. I've gotten through it, and this is hard, but I'll get through it. And that's a thing we want to get across to people, so that they have something to hold on to when they're going through those things in their lives.
Okay. In other particularly is expression, feelings, passion, soul dance, and party time. Maybe celebration of life. What you talking about it? About these things? About these things? It will
Arnulfo,
be really
perdóname,
great.
perdóname, es que
And
te
a great
estás
video.
cortando. No se escuchó bien.
Cortando.
Can you repeat it again because it was breaking up a little bit?
Dale. Okay. Well, the another question is that another video, the type particularly is explosion, feelings, passions, soul dance.
Oh no.
So maybe celebration of life. What are you talking about it? Because
No.
celebration for the life, or for the rest of the life.
¿Quieres? Se cortó otra vez. ¿Me puedes mandar la? Can you send me the question through the chat and I will say it? Sorry, Arnulfo. Thank you.
Yes, seguro. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I will say
Thank
it
you
later.
so much. Okay, cool.
Now I have a question from Oliver from Weird. Oliver, please go ahead.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
How's
it going?
Hi Sam, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Fine. Well, I have two questions. The first is, looking back on your career, how could you guys define the maturity in the sound context of the people who aren't there anymore album? And of course, could you tell us about the maturity of the lyrics?
Sure. Do one of you guys want to take a question on the front side?
Sorry?
Yes, I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know if one of the
Go ahead.
the guys have been so quiet.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that maturity, I think, is just it's a natural thing. It's kind of crazy to be making music and touring for 2 decades now. You are going to go through changes, and the way the road works is going to change, like how you feel about it. I think for people who aren't there anymore, and especially in finding that title, which we were able to find through an artist, Bidalo, who did the cover artwork. It was the title for another one of her paintings. I think it really resonated with all of us because it meant so many different things. The people who aren't there anymore being like the relationships we lose, the friends who move away when we're young and we never see again, the fact of, like, us being people who are on the road, who are away from our friends and family, the people we've lost to addiction and suicide and just natural causes, like the grieving process of life. I think celebrating life, celebrating death is celebrating life. It's about speaking to that, and that's that maturity of an acceptance, and an acceptance of the harder parts of life, allowing us to grow and be stronger and be there for one another. That's so much of these lyrics are, a lot of times when I'm writing lyrics, I hope to just tell a story about myself honestly, because I believe if I'm honest, it will connect with the listener, and the people that need to hear, the song or the story will find it because they will recognize the sincerity. But a lot of times when I'm writing these songs that are asking people to hold on, that are asking people to fight, that are asking people to wait and not do anything drastic, I'm not just saying it, to the listener. I'm saying it to myself, because I'm a person that struggles, and I'm a person who's looking for a human connection. And so much of what we've done with our lives and making music and playing shows around the world is finding that human connection and feeling like we have a purpose in the world and a space to share ourselves and to bring people together. So, I think that's all part of the Yeah, it's just a natural maturity to us and trying to be honest. I think as long as you're being true to who you are and not trying to, sell a record or like make a hit, make a, do something for radio or follow a trend. If you're honest with yourself, then you're going to be able to constantly cultivate your spirit and cultivate your soul and continue to connect with people and mature naturally instead of chasing another thing like chasing a ghost. You sing about chasing the ghost, you don't actually do it. I'll sing about it and that'll be a good song. But
Yes, of course. And talking about a human connection, what would you say to those people who consider your music as the soundtrack of their lives? Uh, and at the same time, what song would you be your soundtrack to experience the end of the world, for example?
for one of our albums or of any album?
Yes, or any.
Okay, let me think about that one. Well, that's one of the great honors of being a musician, I think, and being able to have done it this long, feeling really fortunate that we have people that love what we do and support what we do and allow us to continue to be artists. It's yeah, to hear people say that where our music is a part of their lives, that it is something that helps them through or is with them in their families or with them in their times of need and their times of loneliness. Like that is an amazing it's an amazing thing to be able to be there for people in this, and not actually be there, but just to provide comfort and to provide warmth or to provide joy. It's really grateful for that. It's an honor. What's my sound? Do you guys got some end of the world? Do you guys got some end of the world songs? Garrett, you got to have an end of the world song.
What about that? What's that Spark song?
Number one in heaven.
Number one song in heaven. That'll be the one.
Yeah, Number One in Heaven by Sparks. Yeah, that's a good one. Do you know that one?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me tell you that my favorite song of this album is "Give Me the Ghost Back." It's
awesome.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I send you hugs and greetings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Gracias,
Thank
Oliver.
you.
Thank you. So now I move on with Andrés Díaz from Me Hace Ruido. Andrés.
Hi, Sam.
Andrés.
How are you?
Good.
Hey
There you
there.
are. Thank you.
Writing a song is kind of can be a painful or a relieving experience, And in this case, in this record especially, I have seen that you have evolved in a very interesting way of how you've been writing. So my question is, which song of this album do you think has been more painful or has told you so much about yourself when you see it outside and you hear it as an outsider,
Oh, which song do we think is the most intense as an outsider listening?
Yeah.
I mean, I think both as an insider and an outsider, I think that maybe corner of my eye might be the most intense song. And it's a beautiful song, but in writing that song, it's so honest, and that's what I was talking about before. Like, it's so to the point, the honesty of, I had a person, they asked me to leave, I left, and I can't go back. And that's like, I had peace in this place, and now I can't go there. Isn't that sad? It's just like, but in singing that song, we recently did a little promotional tour, and we did some shows, and in singing that song, and at the end there's these great thank yous, thank you, and it just cracks you in the core, like, for me to, it cracked me, like for me to sing that. I don't know if you've ever yelled thank you. If any of you out there have ever screamed muchas gracias to the person that's gone, it connects. It's a crazy cosmic chord, like it just pulls something out of you. So I think the connection of that song, you know, that the words are written in a very plain way, in a very simple way to get across the emotions without any obscurity. Like there's no poetry. This is how it was. This is what happened. And I think that's the kind of storytelling that really connects with people on a larger scale. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Thank you so much for the answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Now I move on with Samuel from Los Festivales. Samuel, can you hear me?
Hi, guys.
Hey there.
Hi.
It's an honor being here with Future Islands. And my first question is, what do you think is the defining element of Future Island sound? But personally, for me, it's everything, but the Sam's voice and the Williams bass, it's wow.
Well, I think, you know, the crazy thing about this band is that me and William and Garrett have been together for 21 years. We had a band before Future Islands, and you know Mike's been with us for 10 years in Future Islands. But the band, when me and William and Garrett started our first band, we were just 18-year-old kids, and you know William had never played a bass before. He was a guitarist, and Garrett had never played the keyboard before. He was a guitarist, and I was a rapper. And I didn't want to sing in a band. And so we started this band that was very, you know, in its spirit, it was punk rock because we had some broken keyboards, some borrowed amps and a borrowed bass guitar. And we started making music together and started playing shows. But I think because of that, I feel like Future Island's sound is very much its own thing. You know, of course, there's touchstones, you know, within the keyboard sounds, within the bass sounds, within the vocal style, and the lyrical style. But I think we are our own thing because we all really learned to play music together. You know, we all were in this band. For me and Garrett, it was our very first band. And, you know, we're learning to play with William in real time. Me and Garrett are learning to play together. Me and William are learning to play together and kind of creating this thing. But you know, you can listen to songs from our first band when we were 18, 19 years old, and you hear Future Islands. You know, it's a little more New Order, I would say, in its vibe. It's more like Euro pop, but you know, it was electronic drums and keyboards and bass guitar. You know, no guitars. So we've really been working within that for a very long time and really trying to. You know, it's just our palette. It's like it's our color wheel. It's the way that the sounds that we love and the sounds we choose to paint with. And you know, I think that's it's really cool because I feel like we are a band that if you hear our music, you're like, oh, that's Future Islands. And I think that's a really great thing to be able to accomplish, is to just have your sound, you know, and to be understood through your sound.
Thanks, Sam. And the second question is, what did you enjoy the most about composing Future Island's latest album?
It was hard. I don't know.
I know.
No, I mean, the thing was like, it was really hard for all of us. You know, William was going through a split. I went through a split. Garrett became a new father. Mike became a homeowner and like learning all this and like moving. And it was all during the pandemic. You know, the first 2 years of the record were in the pandemic. It was a crazy time. You know, there was a lot of sadness. There was a lot of joy. There was a lot of work in it. And I think, you know, when you're going through big life changes, there's a lot of second guessing and as you get older, you try to make sure that you make the right decision. So it takes longer to make a decision. It took a long time to finish this record. And yeah, I think the joy is in like hearing it completed, really. But I think we're still like wrapping our heads around it. I'm very proud of this record, but the creation of the record was, you hear it. It was really, it was a difficult time for me personally, and yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. I would
go
say
ahead.
I think this might be the hardest album that we've ever made as far as the entire process. It felt really disjointed. It was spread out over like 3 years, the writing and recording of it. And yeah, there was a lot of times where we just had to stop. We completely had to stop working on it because like life stuff was for me, life stuff got too big to handle, and I had to just focus on myself and focus on navigating that, and then coming back to the music and to the album and to the band when we could, and yeah, it felt the songs felt really disjointed and not connected, and it wasn't until Sam gave it he suggested some sort of suggesting track orders for the album, and it sort of that started to kind of connect it for me. And also once we wrote the last song, The Garden Wheel, that somehow once that song was written, that was the last song we wrote for the album. That song sort of kind of held it together and had some kind of cohesiveness to it for me. Mike?
I agree with everything that's been said, and to the question of like what was the thing we were happiest about, is I think it's like when you're sitting on an idea that's sort of half formed for like a long time, and you've like come at it a bunch of different ways, and you always end up sort of going back to this like half formed idea and kind of frustrated by it. But then when you finally like crack it and it like becomes what it's gonna become, like when it becomes the final song, that's a really good feeling. And then there was a couple moments like with King of Sweden that would just, it was one of those moments in the studio that like that song came about out of us just like jamming, and it came together like really quickly. And like Sam wasn't even in the studio. He was like tele singing from Sweden, and because it was the Sunday, there was like no lag on the internet, so we were able to play and he was able to sing along. And it was just one of those things that was of the moment that you so often don't get to capture, and that fact that we captured it was like that's an incredibly fulfilling thing. That's an incredibly like exhilarating thing, So just little moments like that,
I would say the Thief was a unique and new approach for us to songwriting, and in that it started off as a little demo that I sent to the guys, and then Garrett took a portion of the demo and essentially remixed it and wrote on top of it, which was it was kind of a new approach to the way that we could write. So that was a really exciting moment when that song came together.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And
Thank
we
you.
will see you in Viva Latino.
Thanks. Now
Gracias, Audrey.
De nada. I move on with my colleague Henry from Radio Rage Colombia. He's gonna say first his question in Spanish, and then I'm going to translate. Okay. Vas, Henry.
Hola Adri, gracias. Un saludo a todos, saludo a todos los chicos. Es muy emocionante escuchar todo lo que hacen con su disco y con sus nuevas canciones. Pero la pregunta es, vea, van ahorita al Vive Latino y luego vienen a Bogotá al Stereo Picnic, aquí en Colombia. ¿Cómo sienten compartir con público primero mexicano y luego terminar acá en Bogotá, y que también hay mucha expectativa de parte de sus seguidores y pues también de la prensa para verlos? ¿Cómo se sienten eso y qué conocen de Colombia? Gracias, Ari.
Okay, de nada. So Henry is asking you that, how do you feel that first you're going to be in Mexico in Vive Latino, and then you travel to Colombia to be in a stereo picnic? What do you feel about that? That there are a lot of expectations, especially in Colombia. And if you guys know anything about Colombia, I don't know if you've been there before, but what can you tell us about that?
We're just really excited. I mean, we actually have very little experience going to South America. I think we've only been to Bogota once, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was an awesome time. But I mean, in general, our experience in both Central and South America has been amazing. Like the I think it's just in the culture and the spirit of the people. There's just like passionate, that we really appreciate it. It was very different than it's very different than say touring in Europe or the UK. And we love that from the fans. I think there's also just like, I don't know. It's something about people understanding passion. People unafraid of love and death and being free and being out in the open and being together with people. It's always resonated. I guess for like Mexico City is probably Mexico City and Guadalajara are probably where we played the most south of the U.S. So, but we always just have the most amazing time, and we try to get here. We try to get down south as much as possible, but it's always hard. And, but yeah, so just really, really excited. And if the expectation is, what's the expectation that is that like, do we have to perform? Because I mean, we're gonna bring it. I'm so excited. We're gonna kill it. It'll be great.
Thank you. For the rest of the band, do you know anything about Colombia that you can share with Henry before your visit there to Stereo Picnic?
Love the coffee.
Okay.
Really strong coffee in Colombia.
Cool. Bien.
Yeah, I mean, we were in and out of there so fast last time. I only really remember the show. I'm sort of looking forward to getting to be able to spend more time there, a little bit more time there this time around. Yeah, I feel like the first time we were there was just like airport, hotel, venue, hotel, airport. So, I got walked around a little bit, but like I didn't really get to like experience Colombia at all like I would like to. But it seems wonderful. I'm super excited to go back,
I remember that in Colombia, when we were there before in Bogota, they closed the major street that went through the town, and everyone was riding bikes and walking on I think it was a Sunday. And I thought that was so beautiful and awesome. And I wish more cities did that.
Thank you, guys. Gracias, Henry.
Gracias, Ari. Gracias, chicos.
Gracias.
Thank you. Now I move on with another question. This is from Cesar from Proceso Magazine. And I'm going to say it for him. It says, what do you think about the evolution of festivals around the world, where you can hear a diversity of styles that go from rock, punk, metal, and electronic? And, at the same time, within that diversity, Vive Latino carries a message of social conscience together with fun, that it's all united by music. Do you think those messages are necessary in these times?
I
Oh
think if
yeah,
there was ever a time for a message like that, it's now.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think promoting positivity and goodwill and equality, um, upliftment, and fighting against depression. Like these are things that we need. I think it's part of like being an artist too. Like being an artist uh, is being a person who's on the outside, seeing the world and then reflecting upon it. Sometimes it's because you yourself feel like you're outside of an outcast. You're an outcast, and you're trying to look in. And sometimes it's because you feel that's your purpose. And I think those messages of inclusion are extremely important to us. Like that's what so much of our music is about. You know. Being okay with being different, and finding yourself in your world, finding your strength in your difference, finding your strength in your weaknesses, um, and finding peace with yourself and finding your people. So yeah, I mean, and I also I love a festival that has all kinds of stuff. It brings all types of people together, and you walk by stages that you wouldn't, you wouldn't know that you were looking for something, and then you find it. And that's like a thing that we've been fortunate enough to be able to play festivals for years now, and it is a chance to make new fans out of just passersby. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Now I move on with Salvador Medina from Mutual MX. Salvador, please ask your question.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Hello.
Um, uh, they beat me to the question. Great answer in the previous three
Oh
question.
yeah.
I think so. Uh, I live in Guadalajara, so it will also be incredible to see it here. So my question is, from the first albums until today, how did you describe the growth and evolution, the band and the sound? And personally, what would you say is the best part of this whole process? Sam, Jared, William.
In the best part of the writing process, or the process of like the band being together for so long?
Yeah, the best part of this whole process about your career, about Future Islands, like a band.
I think it is like it's seeing the growth. This is a thing that it was just a little tiny band. We were just kids playing in our friends' living rooms, and then we got into the coffee shop, and then we got into the bar, and then we got on the stages. But we played. I was reflecting with my girlfriend last night. I was like, just 11 years ago, I was still sleeping on people's floors. We would tour around the U.S., and every night, about halfway through the show, we would announce like, "Hey, if anybody has a place for us to stay tonight, come talk to us at the merch table after the show." And that was only 10, 11 years ago. And so that I feel like there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride in watching this thing grow and it reach people, and continue to grow. Continue to find new homes. And like with this newest album, I'm getting tons of texts from friends that are sending pictures of like their nieces and nephews, or their sons and daughters, like children dancing to our music. Like, and that's like how beautiful is that? To be able to still be here, to be able to still bring joy, to continue to be like a part of people's lives, and knowing that and I was like, this is our target demographic right now, is like 3 and 4 year olds, so because that helps our career. we got 20 more years if the 3 and 4 year olds are into us now. But yeah, being able to watch this thing grow from, you know, a living room in a basement out into the world. And this, you know, like our relationship as a band, which is, you know, it's hard. It's hard to be in a band for 20 years, you know. It's a marriage, and you have to like remember to communicate. Hey guys, we have to we have to have a talk. You know? It's just like to communicate, to be present with one another, and to remember that you're friends most of all, you know. But how crazy is it to like be able to travel the world with your best friends, and grow this thing together, and to still be doing it? It's an amazing honor, and yeah, it's beautiful.
It's like a marriage, and Sam, you on a stage, you project a lot of energy, a lot of moves, a lot of passion. How do you prepare before your shows? Sorry, and do you have any rituals before going to stage?
I used to have rituals, but I had to break them because it was taking 3 shots of tequila and smoking a cigarette.
Tequila is the
And
solution, yeah.
and yeah, well, hey, it makes the knees go, man. It makes the knees go. So, but yeah, I had to stop doing that, and start taking better care of myself. This is only like 2 years ago. I was like, I should cut it out. But yeah, my rituals now are just more calm. I try to go on stage very very calm, and then let the show come to the people, and let the show come, let the people come to us, instead of, you know, in the old days I would, and then go get them. Like go out there, and that process is different, because I think the music's different. You know, the music is more inviting rather than pushing something on people, and that's the maturity of just growing older, and understanding that there's more acceptance in the calm. But there's still going to be the punch and the growl and all of that. But yeah, the ritual is to be in a comfortable space. Or if you're uncomfortable, for me, if I'm tired on the road, or if I'm sad, or stressed out, I try to use that, you know. So it's kind of talking to myself. I kind of talk to myself a bit. Be like, what are you going through? How do you use it? You know, I got to use it.
Muchas gracias, Adriana.
Gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I have another question. This is from Guillermo from Rock Activist. I'm going to say it. He's asking you, your album covers feature art, such as painting. How do you choose the graphic art for each album, especially for people who aren't there anymore?
It is like pulling teeth. Do you have that saying? Choosing album art and choosing album titles and even song titles can be really hard, you know, when you're you know, 4 distinct people, and you all have different art, like sensibilities towards what you like and what you think works, and these things. But that's kind of the thing. Like, it's this long process of us sharing images back and forth. And you know, if 2 people like it, that's good, but it's not enough. And if 3 people like it, it's a little scary, because you're like, we're so close. And then you know, it's rare that all 4 of us get on board, but that's kind of when we know that it's the art. You know, if all 4 of us get on board with cover art. I think in the case with people who aren't there anymore, and the cover art was this artist, Bidalo, who's a New Mexico-based artist, and was just she was a fan of our music, and she came to a show, and she like tagged us in some posts, and I saw her work, looking at her story of her stuff from the show, and I was just like wow, I was so taken by the symbolism within her work, the depth of feeling within kind of a flat plane. Like a lot of her work has this very kind of this two-dimensional quality, but there's like a depth of emotion within this, like, only like 3 or 4 colors. I don't know, but also like these recurring, like a certain kind of iconography, a symbolism within her work. Like, I feel like her work is very distinct. And that's something that's very similar to us, and the way that our sound is and the way our music is. We have a lot of like recurring symbols, recurring characters and themes. And it's also very similar to our good friend Kimia Nawabi, who did 3 of our album covers. She did Wave Like Home, In Evening Air, and The Far Field. And Kimia is another artist who has, her own set of symbols and things that recur within her work, and a very distinct vision for her work. And I feel like when you have this visual artist who has this depth and is so like singularly them, and then you couple it with this music that has those same kinds of qualities, it actually they elevate one another, because the worlds dance together. The worlds of the different characters from these worlds come together in a way. So I don't know. I'm so happy that we found that artist, and then we were able to use her work, because it's gorgeous, and I feel that it really elevates the record. I mean, I honestly think that album cover I can't imagine it being anything else. And it's inviting. It brings people in, and gives a new color to the record. Because you're, that's so much of it. You see this record you love, and you see the image. You don't when you think about a record you love, you don't think about the LP or the CD. You think about that album cover. Like, finding that iconic image is so difficult. And finding something that represents your art that you care so deeply about is hard. But yeah, just go on Instagram.
We will
Check
certainly
your
will.
messages. Yeah.
Thank you. This next question is from Luis from Mr. Indy. It sort of connects to this one that you just answered. He's asking you, how is it to create the set list for a festival? When you add songs from your new album, your new material, and include, the audience's favorites. How difficult it is.
Oof, it's going to be hard this time. I think it's going to be really hard this time around, because the new songs feel really good live. We just did some shows in London, and we just played the record. It was front to back, just the album. We did two shows, and it felt so good, and I think it was surprising to us how good the whole record sounded live. Usually when we write a record, or when you write a record, you have songs that you think are going to work. You're like, this is a great track, it's going to hit live, and then it just doesn't. And you're like, we can't play it. You can't, the song doesn't, for whatever reason, the song doesn't translate live. But when we did this record, it was pretty much everything was, if the crowd wasn't going crazy, you could see their connection. And for us, I think too, like playing the songs, I think we felt good playing the songs. But then there were songs that were just hitting, like The Tower was killing it. And of course, like King of Sweden and Peach, we've been playing for years, for a couple years now. And they smash. The Tower, The Thief, Iris, The Corner of My Eye, The Fight, The Sickness. Everything was, I can just name the whole record. Give Me the Ghost Back. Oh my gosh, Give Me the Ghost Back destroys live. So when you put out a new record, you've already got this like 20 song set. A festival set's usually about 13, 14 songs, 13 songs probably. And then all of a sudden you've got these 12 new songs come in, and it's like picking between your babies. Who's got to get out of the house, go to college, get out of
Oh,
here.
wow. That's difficult. That's tough. I can't imagine that. Thank you. Like, for the rest of the guys in the band, is there any song that you really like to perform live from this new album?
I really like playing all of them, actually.
Yeah, they're all pretty fun.
They all present unique challenges in their own way, in drum world anyway.
Say Goodbye has been a challenge, but I think at least the last time we performed it,
Say Goodbye.
we actually played it well.
All right, but
Well,
hopefully
I
we
like
will have the
when-
chance to see some of them here in Mexico and in Colombia.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Since we are running out of time, I'm going to move on with our last question. This is from Luis from Miskit Radio. He's going to say it. Luis, can you hear me?
Yes, I am here.
So go ahead, Luis, please.
Guys, Future Islands. Sam, you're a great frontman in Future Islands. Your energy, your movements in the other stage is amazing. Some in interviews, the need to create community you mentioned. What are you thinking about of the Vive Latino Festival, where the music and the public create the community real? What about thinking of the festival?
Well, I think our first time we were ever in Mexico was for a festival. I believe wasn't our first time in Mexico City at Normal Festival? Yeah. And that was, I don't know, that was such an amazing time. I think we were there for 2 or 3 days, and had so many memories. And like I was saying before, festivals are the bigger community, and when you have these very diverse kind of musical lineups, it brings all types of people together, all people that are drawn together through music, and for our love of music, and having that friendship, coming with friends or making new friends. I don't know, it's just a beautiful thing. And it's such a cool thing to be able to play to those crowds, because everyone's just in a good mood, everyone is there to have a good time, and to be loose and to be free. So when you have those opportunities, so much of what we do on stage, it comes from the audience. It's like I was saying before, letting the show come to you. You give to the audience, and you hope to get back, and if the audience gives back, then you give more, and then if they give more, you give more, and so you create this exchange of energy, and the best times, it's like a transcendent moment. You become one. I've always said that the band is the least important part of a good show. It's all about the audience. The band can be terrible, but if you have an amazing audience, it doesn't matter. It'll be an amazing show. It'll be a joy. And so to be able to come to those places and have the opportunity to play for people that just want to have a good time and just want to experience something, whether it's new or something that they've been dying to see, for the first time or for the second or third time. It's a joy. So just really, really excited to go down there again with just more people who know us, but also the ability to make new fans, and just have a good time. Like the festival looks really fun. Like I've been looking at the list of bands and everything, the list of musical acts. So yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you so much. And since we are about to finish, I really appreciate you guys for being here today. It will be our pleasure to see you very soon here in Mexico City and then in Colombia. And I really sincerely hope that you have time to see more bands here and time to visit Colombia and get to know the country better. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of my colleagues, reporters here today, and we will see you very soon. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Adri.
guys.
Love you.
See you soon.
Gracias.
Thank you, Adri.
Bye.
See you guys.
Record.